All right, guys, welcome to the new money maker indicator. We're going to just go over what has been added to it and how it works. So when we push the update, you're going to have to remove the current money maker that you have and re-add it. It's going to be called the same thing. It's going to have some new parameters. On the latest update, what you're going to find is when you go into the settings, you're going to see this use LR filter or use linear regression filter. So there'll be an option to use the linear regression to filter out signals or not. So if by default it's checked off, and so the linear regression filtering is turned on. If you don't like that, you can turn it off. And then what you'll see is a lot more signals are displayed. If we turn up the cell frequency, then you'll see there's more cell signals as well. And if we turn that back on, then you'll see that the amount of signals get filtered out. If we turn the cell signals up more, you'll see more of a difference there, whether you use the linear regression filter or not. Okay, so it's another option if you are a more advanced user and you want to be able to dictate whether or not you're seeing the linear regression filtered or not, or maybe you just want to toggle it off and on to see what maybe more aggressive settings will give you on the sell and buy side, then you can do so. So more options there with the linear regression filter. That is on the latest version. As we go further in this video, you won't see this option, but all of the remaining settings are the same. But this is a new latest input for the latest version of the moneymaker. I'm going to go over what these inputs are. So this lower section, this buy and sell length, oversold, overbought settings that you currently have are still there, but we've added some new ones. The first three sections you don't really have to mess with. That's just simply how the linear regression channel is being drawn on the chart. Now, the channel that we have here plots the historical measurements versus the built-in channel that TradingView supplies, where it draws like a dynamic channel that constantly changes. The problem with that is you can't really see where it was back in time. You'd have to use the rewind feature or the replay feature like we have up here. I don't think the free version has that feature. So this is nice because it shows you where the linear regression measurement was at any given bar. The measurement is the same as a linear regression channel. It just plots it differently. It doesn't plot it as a channel that projects out, trying to project what the price action may be in the future. And we don't really need that because we just want to see our signal fire in the lower part of the channel measurement or the upper part of the channel measurement. So the first three settings don't have to mess with. That's just for the plotting of the linear regression channel, which is now built into the indicator. And that'll free up a slot for you guys that are on the free version, and it can only plot 3 indicators at a time. So the moneymaker will plot your buy, your sell settings, and the linear regression channel. Before, that would take up all 3 slots. All right, probably the most important add is the trigger line. Basically what that is that's going to give us a buffer zone between the midpoint of the channel. So again, we want to take buys at the bottom half of the channel and respect the sells at the upper half of the channel. Now, what the buffer line does is that gives you the ability to tell it how strict to be near the middle. So if we set it to 0, what you'll see is that every time a signal fires anywhere in the lower part of the channel where it's pink, it's going to fire a buy. But if we tell the buffer to be wider, in other words, we're going to force it so that only the signals that fire toward the edge of the channel fire. So we could go extreme. We could say, give us a setting of 1800. 2000 would be the entire width of the channel that's drawn. 1800 would just be 1.8. So linear regression channel drawn is a setting of 2, linear regression of 2. This would give it a linear regression of 1.8 as a buffer zone. And so you're going to filter out a lot of signals if you did that, because only the ones that are firing way out here on the outside edges are going to be displayed. So we can dial that back. We can make this 800. That brings us back more toward the center line. And now we've got more signals. So this is kind of a moderate setting. I think it's a happy medium. I think it does a good job of catching the dips. And so we're going to just go ahead and We're going to start with a buffer setting of 800 on the different settings that we're going to go over, and then we're going to go over the different time frames and the optimal settings as a baseline that you can start with. You can feel free to tweak them from there. If you find a better setting, let us know, but this is going to be basically starting points for the different time frames. So we're going to start with the 15-minute chart. So we're going to double click on the indicator. And for the 15-minute, we're going to change that to a 4/20/26. So your buy length is 4, buy oversold is 20, and your buy overbought is 26. And then 6/89/89 for your sell setting. So the sell length is 6, sell oversold is 89, and sell overbought is 89. And that'll be your starting point for the 15-minute chart. Now, as you're making these changes for the different time frames, you can do something in TradingView that makes this life a whole lot easier, and you can save these settings. So if you go up to templates, you can save the indicator template. Now, what that does is any indicator you have on this chart, whether it's hidden or not, will be saved in this template. So you can click on this, and like, for example, I already have one that says Moneymaker 15-minute or MM 15-minute. I can also save the interval. Okay, so that will, when I bring this up, it'll automatically set me to a 15-minute chart and change it to these settings specifically. So you can do that for each setting, save it as its own template. So we're going to go over the 15-minute, the hourly, the 4-hour, the daily, and the weekly, and you can set an indicator template for each of those time frames. All right. Now let's go to the hourly, and the hourly we're going to change to a 4/20/26. We're going to keep that same as the 15-minute. The next setting will be 5/89/89. So just a little tweak there, 4/20/26 and 5/89/89. We're going to hit OK. We're going to switch this to an hourly chart, and that's going to be your settings for the hourly. Again, we're filtering out 800, and again, you're more than welcome to change that filter out. This big bar probably would have signaled a sell, but because it closed in the oversold part of the channel, and we don't really like chasing big bars anyway, that didn't fire there. So from there, it's been inside action, kind of choppy, but decent buy signals have fired for quick swing trades on this action. So decent setting here for the hourly. Now let's move on to the 4-hour chart. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and change this again to, we're going to make this 4/18 and 19. And those are your buy settings. And then for the sell settings, we're going to change that to 5/76 and 82. And we're going to hit OK to that. Okay, and that'll be your starting point for your 4-hour chart. And again, you can go up to templates. You can save this indicator. You know, we can call it MM4, we'll call it 4H, right? And we can save the interval. So anytime I want to bring this up, so now I can flip between the MM 15-minute, boom, 15-minute with the 15-minute settings all ready to go. Or I can go to a 4-hour MM settings all ready to go. Easiest way to deal with the Moneymaker and the different settings that way. So really like that a lot. All right, let's move on to the daily. And the daily is actually going to be the same as the weekly. So again, we're going to double click on it, and we're going to go ahead into the settings here. We're going to change it to 4/22 and 25 on the buy. Okay, so 4/22 and 25 for the buy settings. And then for the sell settings, we're going to set that to 4/78/81. Okay, so 4/22/25, 4/78/81 on the daily. Okay, so there's your daily, and you notice again, price has been riding the upper part of that linear regression channel on the daily. So really haven't seen any deep dips except for this recent one back here where it fired nicely. So really heavy trending action the last few months on Bitcoin. Gives you some perspective. This also works on the weekly, like I said. So both the daily and the weekly, we were using the same baseline settings. Again, you guys can use or tweak these from here, and if you find something you think really works well, let us know in chat. But I think this is a good starting point for you guys for the various time frames, and I think these indicator templates will speed things up for you, and just, everything's there. You can switch back and forth to the different time frames and not really mess around with the settings at that point. All right, guys, well, that's it. I hope that helps. Again, after watching this, if you have any questions, just hit us up in chat or shoot us an email. But I think you're going to find this addition extremely helpful and make this moneymaker signal all that much more accurate. Going forward, the next upgrade, and probably the final upgrade for the moneymaker, will be adjusting the moneymaker settings based on whether we're trending up or down. We still have to code that up, but that is the next and final tweak for the moneymaker. And then I think you're going to have a pretty deadly indicator to use on the crypto markets. And it does work on other markets as well. But I'm Mr. Crypto, so we're focusing on the crypto with this one. All right, guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next video. Bye.